damn phones. Babylons can't crack the code.
What do YouTube? B. Kelly back again with another banger video. In today's video, y'all, I'm going to be talking about what happened to the top 10 quarterbacks from the 2016 recruiting class. Now, this is according to the 24/7 Sports composite rankings. And before I move on with the video, remember to smash that like button as it does help out the channel a lot and I would highly appreciate it. Now let's get on to the video. The number 10 overall quarterback from the 2016 recruiting class was pro-style quarterback Jack Allison. Now, according to 24/7 Sports, he ranked as a 4-star recruit and the 176th best player in the nation, and he would end up going to Miami. Jack Allison never actually played a game for Miami. In 2016, as a freshman, he redshirted, then he would transfer to West Virginia, where he'd have to sit out the 2017 season due to the transfer rules, and finally, he was eligible to play college football for once. But once he got to West Virginia, he was mainly a backup quarterback in 2018 and 2019. He played in 7 games, starting in one of them, and in those 7 games, he completed 59% of his passes, threw for 496 yards, had 2 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. He would enter the transfer portal yet again after 2019, and in the 2020 college football season, he played for West Liberty University. Coming in at number 9 in the 2016 recruiting class for quarterbacks was Brandon McElwain, who was a dual-threat quarterback and ranked as a 4-star recruit and the 175th best player in the nation according to the 24/7 Sports composite rankings, and he would end up going to South Carolina. Brandon would spend 1 season at South Carolina as a freshman in 2016. As in 8 games played, he completed 53% of his passes, threw for 600 yards, 2 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. He would then transfer to Cal, where he had to sit out the 2017 season. Then in 2018, as a redshirt sophomore in 10 games played, he completed 62% of his passes, threw for 763 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. On the ground, however, he did rush for 403 yards, averaging 5 yards per carry and 4 touchdowns. That was the last time he actually touched the field in college football, but he was actually a really good college baseball player and was even taken in the 26th round of the MLB draft in 2020. He is currently in the New York Mets farm system on their low A affiliate, and for the 2021 season, he's batting a .130 with a 31% on-base percentage, 1 home run, 4 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases. The number 8 quarterback in the class was 4-star recruit, number 91 player in the nation, Dwayne Haskins, who would end up going to Ohio State. When Haskins first got to Ohio State, he would redshirt in 2016 as a freshman. In 2017, as a redshirt freshman, he would play in 8 games as the backup quarterback. And in 2018, as a redshirt sophomore, he would be the starting quarterback for the Ohio State Buckeyes. And he had a huge season where in 14 games played, he completed 70% of his passes, threw for 4,831 yards, 50 touchdowns, and only 8 interceptions, and even finished 3rd in Heisman voting. He would forgo the rest of his eligibility at Ohio State and declare his name for the 2019 NFL Draft, where he was taken by the Washington football team with the 15th overall pick in the 1st round. Dwayne Haskins has played in the NFL for 2 seasons now, both with the Washington football team. As a rookie, he really struggled as he went 2-5 as a starting quarterback, completed 59% of his passes, threw for 1,365 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. In 2020, people wanted to see him have a better season, but that was not the case as he struggled and showed a lot of maturity issues as he went 1-5 as a starting quarterback and completed 61% of his passes, throwing for 1,439 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. And his maturity issues off the field during a big health crisis in the whole world, going to clubs when you're not supposed to during the season, would eventually get him released along with his play, and he was released before the season even ended for the football team. And he is now currently a backup quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, trying to rebound off of getting released from Washington. The 7th best quarterback in the class of 2016 was Jarrett Guarantano, the dual-threat quarterback out of New Jersey. He was a 4-star recruit in this class and the 79th best player, and he would end up going to Tennessee. Jarrett spent a total of 5 seasons at Tennessee, including a redshirt season as a true freshman in 2016. In 2017, as a redshirt freshman, he played in 9 games and was primarily a backup, but he started to see an increase in playing time in 2018 as a redshirt sophomore. He would eventually become the starter from then on out. Now, Jarrett, he had shown some flashes and some promise at Tennessee, but a big problem with him was inconsistency, which seems like it's a really big problem for Tennessee quarterbacks, especially this last decade. In his career at Tennessee, he led them to 1 bowl game appearance where they went 8-5 that season in 2019. And for his career, he completed 61% of his passes, threw for 6,174 yards, 38 touchdowns, and 17 interceptions. For the 2021 college football season, he is going to play for Washington State. Coming in at number 6 is pro-style quarterback, ranked as the 61st best player in the nation, and 4-star recruit Brandon Peters, who would end up going to Michigan. He would redshirt his first season at Michigan in 2016, and in 2017 and 2018, he was nothing more than just a backup as a redshirt freshman and sophomore. Then after the 2018 season, he would officially transfer to Illinois, where he finally got some real PT. In 2019, he started 11 games for Illinois, where he played pretty well, completing 55% of his passes, throwing for 1,884 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. And it's notable to say in that season, he also led them to a bowl game appearance. In 2020, Peters did struggle quite a bit, as in 5 games played, he only completed 49% of his passes, throwing for 429 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions, but he is coming back for a 2021 season. The number 5 quarterback in the class was none other than Felix Franks, who was a 4-star recruit and the 54th best player in that class, and he would end up going to Florida. Felix Franks would spend a total of 4 seasons at Florida, including a redshirt season in 2016 as a true freshman, but in his 4-year career, he would end up completing 59% of his passes while throwing for 4,593 yards, 38 touchdowns, and 17 interceptions. He had a breakout season in 2018 where he impressed many in 13 games that he played in for Florida, but in 2019 as the starting quarterback yet again, he would only play in 4 games due to injury, and then he would decide to transfer ultimately for the 2020 season, where he decided to go to Arkansas. Felix Franks at Arkansas in 2020 had a really good season where he led them to a 3-7 record. Now you might be thinking 3-7, really? But that's actually really good for Arkansas as of late, and they were in a bunch of games, and a lot of that was because of Felix Franks, and honestly, they were better than their 3-7 record portrayed. In 9 games played, Felix Franks completed 69% of his passes, threw for 2,100 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions, but it was not enough for him to be drafted in the 2021 NFL Draft. He would end up signing with the Falcons as an undrafted free agent. The number 4 quarterback in the 2016 recruiting class was Malik Henry, who ranked as a 4-star recruit and the 49th best player in the nation, and he would end up going to Florida State. Malik Henry would never play a game for Florida State, and he was suspended before he was even able to, which would ultimately lead him to transfer from the team and end up going to Independence Community College, which he was in Last Chance U Season 3 and 4. At Independence Community College, he would be the starting quarterback there for his first season, but if you watch Last Chance U, for his second season there and his last season there, he was kind of on the team and kind of not, as in the beginning he wasn't on the team, then he was on the team for a little bit, then he was kicked off the team, and then after Independence and the whole ordeal there, he would then walk on at Nevada. As a walk-on quarterback at Nevada, in the 2019 college football season, he played in 3 games before being suspended from the team, where he completed 54% of his passes, threw for 593 yards, 1 touchdown, and 4 interceptions. He would not come back to Nevada after this season, and he has not played football since. Coming in as the number 3 quarterback in the 2016 class is KJ Castillo, who ranked as a 4-star recruit and the 47th best player in the nation, and he would end up going to Stanford. Castillo would spend a total of 4 seasons at Stanford, including a redshirt freshman season in 2016. As a redshirt freshman in 2017, he would play in 11 games primarily as a backup, but still got some pretty good PT, as he completed 59% of his passes, threw for 1,573 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. In 2018, as a redshirt sophomore, he was the starting quarterback, and in 13 games played, he had a really good season where he completed 65% of his passes, had 3,540 yards of passing, 29 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. He got off to a very good start in 2019, but an injury would end his season as he only played in 5 games, completing 61% of his passes, throwing for 1,038 yards and 6 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He would then transfer to Mississippi State, where he was expected to have a big season under Mike Leach's signature air raid offense, but he struggled immensely, playing in 6 games, completing 64% of his passes, 6 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. He is currently an unsigned, undrafted free agent right now. The number 2 quarterback in the 2016 class was Jacob Eason out of Washington. He was a 5-star recruit and the number 5 player in the nation. He would end up going to Georgia. Jacob Eason would actually start in most of the games in his true freshman campaign at Georgia, as in 13 games played, he completed 55% of his passes, threw for 2,430 yards, had 16 touchdowns, and only 8 interceptions. Not a bad freshman season at all. He would have a season in 2018 where he was supposed to have a big season and be the starting quarterback, but after getting hurt, Jake Fromm would get the chance to be the starting quarterback and ultimately ran away with it. Going into the 2018 season, he would announce he would be transferring to Washington, where he'd have to sit out the entire 2018 season due to transfer rules. He would only play at Washington for 1 season in the 2019 college football season, in which he had a really good year where he played 13 games and he completed 64% of his passes, throwing for 3,132 yards, 23 touchdowns, and only 8 interceptions. He would declare his name early for the 2020 NFL Draft, where he was taken in the 4th round by the Indianapolis Colts. As a rookie with the Colts in the 2020 season, he was the 3rd-string backup quarterback for the Colts. The final quarterback I'm going to be talking about today, and the number 1 quarterback in the 2016 class, was Shea Patterson, who ranked as a 5-star recruit and the number 4 player in the nation, and he would end up going to Ole Miss. Shea Patterson would spend a total of 2 seasons at Ole Miss, where he was a starter in one before falling down with injury in 2017, and one where he was a freshman as a backup. Now, in his career, he completed 61% of his passes, thrown for 3,139 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. After 2017, due to Ole Miss getting investigated by the NCAA, he would transfer to Michigan, where he was eligible immediately and became a starter immediately. Shea would have a pretty good season his first year at Michigan, where he led them to a 10-3 record, completing 65% of his passes, throwing for 2,600 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. In 2019, he was expected to have a huge season at Michigan, but that was kind of far from the truth. Some of his numbers did increase, but it really looked like he was the same quarterback, and he struggled in bigger games. Michigan would end up going 9-4 that season, and he would end up completing 56% of his passes, thrown for 3,061 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. In the 2020 NFL Draft, he went undrafted. He would sign as an undrafted free agent to Kansas City, but would not make the final roster, or really make it to preseason at all. He is currently still a free agent. Well, guys, now that I'm at the end of the video, remember to smash that like button, turn on them post notifications, and subscribe for more videos. B. Kelly, out.